Hi there, I'm Katie Lee Biegel. You may or may not know me from my years on the Food Network co-hosting The Kitchen. This is my new series, It's Not Complicated, and I'm really excited to welcome you into my home and see the recipes that I'm cooking for my family. I'm looking to inspire and empower so that you can watch these and know that you can make them at home too. My food is comfortable, it's classic, not a bunch of ingredients, not a bunch of steps, and frankly, not a lot of dishes. You're not gonna have that 4 o'clock moment of that damn trash can. Ryan's filming me. He's walking backwards down the street. Hopefully we don't lose him. So I live in New York City now. I am from a little tiny town in West Virginia, and I still like making those foods that I grew up on. My grandma was the greatest cook that ever lived, and my biggest inspiration still to this day, her and my grandpa, who loved to eat more than anyone I have ever encountered. So I got it honest. I wish more than anything that they could be here to be enjoying this with all of us, but I want to do them proud. So y'all come on in, let's get started, let's get cooking. I'm hungry, I want to eat. So this is a meal that my grandma would make, my mom would make. When I go home, this is what I ask my mom to make for me. It's pinto beans, collard greens, and cornbread. So I've got my beans here. So I soaked these overnight. There's all kinds of techniques online about not soaking your beans, like bringing them to a boil and all that. I think there's no substitute for soaking them overnight. All right, that looks good right there. Here we go. And I'm gonna just go ahead and turn it on. I'm gonna put some garlic powder in here. You could put whole garlic cloves if you want. I do that sometimes, but I'm just gonna put a little powder in, and I'm gonna put a bay leaf in, and then an onion. All right, I got a carrot here, and I got a stalk of celery I'll throw in too. Now, I'm gonna bring that to a boil, then reduce it to a simmer. I salt my beans at the end. I go with what Grandma did because you just don't question the things that Grandma did. You just do them. As this comes to a boil and simmers, it smells so good. And you wonder how just a pot of beans with water and an onion can smell so good, but it really does. It's so flavorful. And this is also probably one of the cheapest dishes you'll ever make. I mean, a pound of beans is what, like $1 or something? I use some bougie beans. Yeah. 1952? Yeah, I use some bougie beans though. My grandma would not have approved of what I paid for these pinto beans. I actually ordered them and had them delivered, and she'd say that's insane. What would a pound of dried pinto beans be?
Target.
$1.39, there you go. Now, the ones I bought were probably what, like 15 a pound?
$15 a pound.
Yeah, my grandma would roll over in her grave over that. So for the collard greens, they come big ones like this. You need to really wash these because like all of these kinds of winter greens, they can be kind of sandy, and if you don't get them washed, there's no recovering from making the greens, and then you like take a bite and you get that grit in your mouth that just ruins it. So I just take my hands down it and peel the rib out. So I got some down here that I prepped. So here we go, and just kind of gave them a nice big rough chop. So I'm just gonna slice this up on the thinner side. Like real country cooking, you would cook these collard greens to death, like 2 hours until they are completely tender. So my grandma was a country cook, but she also kind of got into healthy cooking later in life. And so she quit using a lot of like the traditional fats, but all of her food still tasted amazing. All right, so I'm just gonna give that a little stir. I'm not looking to get like a lot of color on these onions. I'm just gonna let them cook for like a minute or two. Looks like my beans are almost boiling. I'm gonna cover these, put them on low, let them simmer. It's gonna be a couple of hours. There's nothing worse than biting into a bean that is not completely cooked. When's the beans done? When the beans say they're done. All right, so I'm gonna take all my collard greens and put them in here. What I'm gonna do is get some chicken stock going. This I find gives them a little bit more flavoring, but you can just use water if you want. And then to get that kind of umami, salty taste that you would get from the pork, I add soy sauce in. I'm gonna put a little of that, and the steam will help that start to wilt. I never like thought of myself as being Southern growing up, but when I left and I went to college in Ohio, I was kind of like, oh yeah, I guess we are different. I guess we do talk a little different. I think it's more country than it is Southern. Now for the really good part, the cornbread. I love cornbread. What you want to do is put this in the oven while you make the batter. So that way, when you pour the batter in there, it almost starts to fry. So let's do the dry ingredients first. All right, a cup of flour. And then we're gonna put in 2 cups of cornmeal. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna add a tablespoon of baking powder. Because that cornmeal is so heavy, it needs a good amount of baking powder in there to get it to rise. So full tablespoon goes in, and then some sugar. So when it comes to cornbread, sugar is kind of the controversial ingredient. People either like a more sour cornbread that's buttermilk flavor forward, or they like a sweet cornbread. I tend to fall into the buttermilk category when it's for this meal especially. So I put a 1/4 cup of sugar in it. I do make sweeter cornbread when I'm doing other dishes, but for the pinto beans, it needs to be like the country buttermilk flavor coming forward. So I give it a good little whisk. I got some eggs here, 2 eggs. Whisk those up. 2 cups of buttermilk. Give your buttermilk a little shake. If you do not have buttermilk and you find yourself wanting to make cornbread or any recipe that calls for buttermilk, you use regular milk and add a splash of vinegar or lemon juice to it and let it sit for 5 minutes, and it will start to sour the milk. So that's a great trick because, you know, you don't always have buttermilk, but sometimes you just get a hankering for something. Some melted butter, and to this, I'm gonna add my dry ingredients. So you can see how easy this is. Like, there is no reason to have a cornbread mix. We were not a mixed family. I'm gonna add a few tablespoons of oil. You wanna use a neutral oil for this, and that's gonna go in and start to sizzle. Into the oven. This takes about 25 or 30 minutes to cook. Ooh. Here we go. Let's check our collard greens. Oh yeah. Oh, those look so good. They smell so good, don't they? If you check on them and they look like they're starting to get a little dry, just add another little splash of chicken stock. The beans are almost done, so this is the time to salt them. So I get a more tender bean, and they need a lot of salt. And stir it up and let them simmer just a little bit longer. All right, that cornbread's smelling real good. It's perfect. Nice and golden brown. You can see that the cornbread starts to pull away from the pan. It is naturally non-stick. There we go. Ta-da! Look at that. Okay, listen. That's how nice and crispy that cornbread is. I just want to go for it. Oh my God, look at these beans. Mmm, they look so tender, so delicious. I'm gonna put some greens on my plate. You see how easy that was? That was nothing to put together. Now it's time to eat. Part of this meal is your condiments. You gotta have some chow chow. Some chow chow. All right, so chow chow is just really finely chopped cabbage, peppers, little spice blend, and vinegar. Gotta get you some chow chow. Chow chow. And then hot pepper vinegar. So this is just some hot peppers and white vinegar. Put that on your collards. Oh my God, they're perfect. Oh, they're so good. I love the broth. That's called the pot liquor. Pot liquor. The beans are just really tender. It's a really simple flavor. Man, if this meal hadn't taken me back. So the collard greens are slightly bitter. And the vinegar just gives it like this little added punch and having the heat. And then you get that chow chow in there. Chow chow's sweet. Now the other thing that I really like to do, this is what my grandpa would do for your cornbread. He'd usually do this at the end of the meal. You take some soft butter and put it on your plate, and then molasses. When I was a kid, we would go at the field near the Morris Memorial Nursing Home. They would make fresh molasses. So you just take your fork and mash the butter into the molasses and just put it right on there. Oh my God, it's so delicious. Oh man. God dang it, Ryan, that's good. If you like this, be sure to comment and subscribe. And if you don't like it, keep it to yourself.